It's a great pleasure to be here again. I hope I've got something to offer you. Yes.
Bishop, we're a very extremely, as they say, low-tech family, very. Can you, though, explain the dangers of electronics, especially for the sake of the children?
And so the danger of which?
The danger of electronics,
electronics.
For the children's sake.
It's inhuman. Well, there's the immediate and obvious danger of muck, because the children know how to manipulate these things much better than you and I. It's their generation, not ours. And the moment they have access to the internet, and many of these little machines do, they will know how to get there. And their little comrades will tell them. And so they're exposing themselves to very easily accessible temptations. That's for starters. Another thing you could say about it is that it's virtual reality. It's difficult for children to understand. Parents have got to take a hard line. But it's virtual reality as opposed to real reality. I remember Father Beck telling me that when he was in Minnesota, maybe 20 years ago, the boys always got out on Saturday and played sports themselves. And then he was there maybe 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, I can't remember, and he said now the boys don't want to get out, all they want is to get home and play virtual football instead of playing real football. It's not the same. Virtual reality destroys, undermines the sense of real reality. People accustomed to zapping half the world, zonk, zonk, and the whole crowd is just blitzed. People accustomed to that, and then they get behind an Apache helicopter in one of these wars, and there's enemy there, boom, boom, boom. It's just a game. Real reality becomes a game. Virtual reality drags real reality after it. And people out of touch with real reality are liable to get out of touch with the real God. God is real. He's not virtual. And hell is real. Heaven is real. But if you're living in virtual reality, you lose your grip on real reality. I don't know if you can explain that to a child. It's not something you have to explain to them. It's something you have to do to them. No electronics in this house. None, none, none. No television. And the internet must certainly be kept under lock and key if there are any adolescent boys anywhere near around. Dad's got to keep it under lock and key. And it's not an electronic lock because the adolescent will know better than Dad how to manipulate the electronic locks. It's got to be a physical lock, got to be a wooden case with a physical, real, not virtual real lock on it, which Dad alone has the key to. I mean, you can see what I'm trying to say. The internet is very dangerous for adolescent boys, adolescent girls as well, I suppose, but I think the boys are particularly vulnerable. So you've got the parent. I'm not saying this is you. Perhaps you're a grandmother, but in any case, the parents must take a stand. They've got to say what goes in this house. And it's not because they want to tyrannize, it's because they want the real good of their children. The real good of their children is to grow up with real reality, not virtual reality. That's the most general problem, the problem with electronics. And another problem all the way is it's inhuman. It's much better for children, school mistresses in an elementary school will tell you, they can almost, within a few minutes, they can tell which children have television at home, which don't. Because the children that have television are sort of in a daze and they don't react to the real person in front of them. Those that have no television at home, they're immediately reacting like a human being with a human being. And real education can only go through human beings. It can't go through electronics. Real education is a real human being giving something to somebody who hasn't got what is being given. It's between humans. But electronic television is one way, the internet is one way, and now that's why, of course, they develop interactive. It's supposedly interactive, but it's still, in fact, mechanical. It's not the same as a human being. And human beings need human beings. And they need a human education. They don't need to be taught by machines. People today want to do everything by computer. You can't do it that way. You can't educate that way. You're not going to form hearts and minds. You may unload on information, but that's not the same thing as an education. But the children themselves can't understand that. All they can see is a magic lantern which stops them from being bored. Until probably the moment when they do become bored with the electronics. And then they will say, why did Mum and Dad allow me to spend all my youth with these senseless electronics, these empty electronics, with these stupid Nintendo games? They become absolute experts at some Nintendo game, of blasting out of existence, zapping the whole world. 5 moves and the world disappears. It's not okay.
I remembered my wife and I, Albert Einstein, and we were trying to put the wording together. And he said, I'm worried when technology interacts with humanity, we will have a generation of idiots. And that's what you said at the very end. There's no correspondence. And this is what they want.
No. This things that you can't explain to a child. There are things you don't explain to a child. You tell a child what to do. And won't you as a parent if you don't? But supposing all the programs on television were angelic, supposing the content on TV was all the time religious, in theory, you'd say that's good. It wouldn't. All you'd make is, your television would make angelic robots. There'd be an element of robotry in there, simply because it's not human, and it's not directly to... Everything on television goes out to millions at the same time. It's not directly to you. Whereas Mum and Dad, it's directly to Mum and Dad, it's direct between. That's why parents should take time with children, obviously. Love is spelled T-I-M-E. And, human beings need humanity. And if they don't have humanity, they're going to turn into zombies. You can't explain that to a child. Because he's bewitched by the magic lantern. But you've got to tell him. And you've got to grab the thing out of his hands and stamp on it until it's crushed. Okay. Well then, let's say a prayer and we'll be on our way.